Today, I'm going to tell you how I lost $30,000 from having a bad tenant. This is my nightmare story. Please wait until the end of the video where I'm going to tell you my secrets on how to get good tenants in your rental property. But here it is. I rented this property to this guy. He was on disability, so he had guaranteed income, and I called all of his references. The references fully checked out. The property was a newly renovated half duplex, new flooring, new paint, new light fixtures, all of that, new baseboards, all of that was put into this property. I was so excited to rent it. I tried to get the max value out of the property that I possibly could get, and I rented this property way above what the market was asking for. It was great. I thought, well, at least I thought it was great. After I had rented the property, the tenant moved into the property. He paid his deposits to me in cash. It was all good. I didn't think anything of it. A few months later, I reached out to the tenant and I said, hey, I'm coming by to check out the property, make sure everything is all good. And he didn't answer his phone at that time, but I did give him the notice that was required for me to go in and check out my property. So I get to the property, and first thing that greets me at the door are two freaking huge dogs. Pets were not a part of the lease contract. Pets were not allowed in this property. He opens the front door in his white wife beater tank top, and the place is an absolute disaster. I was pissed. There was just stuff everywhere. There was dog feces all over the ground. These dogs were pissing and shitting all over the place, and the property was in total disarray. Okay. So right away, I freak out. Like, what the hell's going on? The tenant told me, get out of the house. And of course, you have to listen to them. In most municipalities, it is the tenant's property while they are renting it. So anyway, I knew things were going bad. Tenant stopped paying me any rent. He was running some electrical wire from one property to another property that I own, stealing electricity from that property. And so I documented everything. I took pictures of everything. I took pictures of the dog. I had a copy of my lease agreements that said no pets and to keep the property in good condition. Checked back in a couple of days later, and I noticed that there was some drywall that was all torn up. The dogs had been scratching at the walls because there was bed bugs. So the tenant brought bed bugs into the property. It was freaking gross. So bad. So anyway, I got to get this guy out at this point. So what do? I called the landlord and tenancy board and book a time for me to go to court with this guy. And it was really quick because I had proven that he was not taking care of the property. It wasn't just that he wasn't paying his rent. It was that he was trashing my house. Okay. I go to court. The tenant did show up for the court date. And when he showed up, I just had so much evidence against him. He looked at me. He just gave me this nasty look, and he left. He had 48 hours to vacate the property. So 48 hours come and go, and he's still not gone. So at this point, I had to go back and get something where I could hire a bailiff to have him removed from the property. So now I go back, I serve him this notice, and a bailiff goes in, gets the tenant out of the property. The tenant didn't want anything in the property. They left everything. So the tenant had damaged all of the doors. There was holes in every door of the property. The dogs had scratched at all the walls. The tenant also, and this is the worst part about it, that pissed me off more than anything, he filled every sink, every drain of the house and turned the water on full blast. So the water was running in this property full blast all over the place for about 2 days, 48 hours nonstop. So I incurred a massive bill because of this in water. It destroyed all of the flooring. I had to rip out the floorboards because there was mold in the floorboards. I had to rip out the drywall. I had to basically redo this whole property from scratch. It ruined the furnace. It ruined the hot water tank. Everything was ruined. And when I finally got to the property, I opened up the little cubby hole that goes into the furnace area, and he left one of his dogs locked up in the pitch black. This guy was a piece of work. So I'm so glad I got him out. Anyhow, I called the insurance company. They told me what they would cover, but I need to get this property going quick, fast. The insurance company wouldn't cover everything. I had the most basic insurance on it. So it's really important if you're renting property that you get good insurance on the property. But I was young. This is one of my first rental properties that I ever owned. It was a side-by-side duplex, and I incurred an expense of $30,000 to fix the property. So I did pay the 30,000 bucks. I don't even remember where I got this money from. I think I got it off my credit card at the time. And I fixed the property up, and I started renting it out to some better tenants. Now, for what I would have done differently had I known what I know today. So I've totally changed the way I rent property out. And one of the things I do is I look for very specific clientele. So the first thing that I look for when I'm trying to find a good tenant is I post my ad with good quality pictures, and I post it lower than market value. My thing with rental property is it's not my primary income source. I do have a full-time job. Obviously, I'm a mortgage broker. That's why I'm bringing this video to you today to see if I can help you when you're renting property. But I look for very specific clientele. So I open the market up to myself by having very low rent. So more people come and view the property. More people put applications in to move into the property, and then I'm able to sift through those people and choose the ones that I like. Some of the things that I look for is that they've been at their job for over 2 years. I do pull credit as well, and I do make sure that their credit score is above 680. That's your Equifax or TransUnion credit score, above 680. I look for things on their credit bureau that can help me. So I look for a history of a revolving credit. I look to make sure that there's no collections on their credit bureau, because when people have a history of a lot of collections, it doesn't look good to some that are trying to rent or loan money to you. I find that new immigrants, people that have newly moved to the country, are really good as well. So I look out for that. I'm not super focused on that, but they do take care of property in my experience. I no longer, and I know I'm going to get some flack for this, but I no longer rent property to people on major disability. The reason being is they just don't take care of the property as well as somebody that is fit enough to do so. I know that there is help for people like that, but I prefer not to deal with it. Don't shoot the messenger. I call every single reference they have, and I don't want references to be their friends. I also try to call their previous landlords if they'll give me that information. So now I have so many people applying for this mortgage, they're competition, and they want to give me as much information as they can. The previous landlord information is hot. I also go to the courthouse or to your municipality and find out if there's ever been any judgments against them from property. Where I am, it costs $150 to do that, but you'll be able to find out if the tenant has any claims against them from other landlords. I never try to maximize rent anymore, and I base my decision on what clients I want to rent to based on their reputation and their character and their job. Those are 3 main items that I focus on. Another thing that I like to do is I collect rent automatically by pre-authorized debit. So I get a pre-authorized form signed by them, and I collect the rent automatically coming out of their account. They know that they'll incur an expense if their rent bounces. And I look for tenants that don't nitpick about everything. If you get somebody that's like, you're walking through with them on day one and they say, oh, this door handle is kind of scratched and this is that. They're nitpicking people, and they're going to nitpick you to death for the rest of your relationship with them. So you're going to want to avoid those kind of tenants. I hope this information helped you. Please like and subscribe to the channel for more awesome financial advice and real estate advice. My name is Sean Rampersad. Call me if you have any mortgage related questions I can help you with. Thanks.